Welcome everyone. This is Evelyn and I have a lot of messages for you. I do have the twin flame read on the table for you. I have a lot of my messages of the day reads for you, plus everything that's been going on since prior to Lionsgate through this full moon. So it seems like it's a summary of this intense energy between Lionsgate and this full moon. So I'm going to give you the most recent information from the 18th and the 19th, and then I'm going to go back all the way back to the 7th. And we're going to cover as much as I can right now. I just pulled a card from the Inner Child deck. And sorry, I just dropped some cards. And the underlying energy here was to become aware, listen to the wisdom of the body. And the card that came out was this card, the 10 of disappointment is not the end. There's hope even in the darkest of nights. So especially for those of you who are really feeling the 3D energies. So what that card says in the book is disappointment can be a difficult emotion to experience, and afterward it can be hard to have hope again. It's okay to be disappointed. Disappointment is an aspect of life that's inevitable, and being human is a messy journey full of twists and turns. We do the best we can with the knowledge we have, but not everything turns out as we hope. In truth, no disappointments or mistakes make us any less of the beautiful, wonderful people that we are. If you've pulled this card, it might be a sign that the fear of disappointment is hindering your path. Practice courage and acceptance. There's always hope, beloved, and happiness is waiting for you just ahead. And then they bring up an acceptance exercise. So if you feel fear around disappointment or have experienced disappointment, then it might be good to practice developing acceptance around it. If we're unable to accept that a disappointment has occurred, it can cause the prolonged pain. By avoiding the reality of our disappointment, it may feel as though we're protecting ourselves from pain, but it will ultimately hinder our ability to go after what we desire in the future. Try to accept that disappointments will come and go, and know that you're strong enough to try again. Do not let disappointment or the fear of being disappointed stop you from living your glorious life. And then responsive journaling prompt. When you think about disappointment, how does it feel in your body? Do you experience feelings of anxiety or fear? Ask your inner child how they feel about disappointment, and if there's anything you can do to help them feel more accepted and loved around disappointments. So that's the exercise that came up for you guys today. So I'm just going to put this up here. Okay, so a little while ago I did got pretty deep meditation for you. The message was pretty general but very significant. So let me just get back to the current page here. So the meditation was very interesting for me personally as well. I was first seeing myself meditating, and then I saw a tree that was like energized and reaching up, and then it turned into the praying man, which is a symbol that had come up from the Egyptian hieroglyphics. And I'll cover that when I get to that point, but I was getting that energy, you know, of a person with their arms up in the air praying to God, so to speak. And I was then being guided because I was seeing myself meditate, and then they were showing me what to do with my arms. And then they were having me stretch my neck in different directions, right and left and side to side, and then had me position my hands outward and then up. So I was holding space between my hands, and then they were showing me how far apart for my hands to be, and then they brought my hands up in the air. I did see a face and a profile that was familiar to me, and then the Aries energy came up of the I am. And I also saw a stone being, which had come up this past week as well, that I'd connected with a stone being. You know, a being that looked like a stone. So the message was coming up that God is everywhere. I was asking who I was connecting with because I was getting this elephant energy of Ganesha. But then Babaji had come up yesterday and something I'd watched, and Babaji was coming up again then, or God. So I was seeing this elephant, And the elephant's trunk becomes a forearm with the hand on the end of the trunk, which is the finger of God dipping into things. And then the forearm was a boat where the hand was up in the front, kind of like a Viking ship. That God is in all things, down to the tiniest thread of a seam that's coming apart in your existence. Right? So even the things you may deem as negative, God has their hand in that. So, and then I was brought back to some personal things as well, of when you have been disappointed, or maybe a time when you were triggered to be judgmental in the past, and it could go way back. But where were there some times that are coming up right now for you that you may have been judgmental, and it wasn't because you wanted to be, you were just going through your own securities and fears at that time. And again, the fear of being fully intimate comes up here as well. And the hunger, I was getting hungry at that time too, so they're bringing up the need to feed yourself. The inability to feed your child came up in this meditation as well, as that fear of, your child starving to death because you can't feed them. And again, here was coming up, feed your inner child, feed you what you need, whether that be food or emotional things that you need to give to your inner child. So again, I just read from the Inner Child Oracle, which I wasn't even relating the two things. So that was the meditation. And then I'm going to go back to the 18th and bring you up to date. And then we're going to go back to the 7th. So the 19th was the full moon, so we were definitely building up to the full moon on the 18th. And I didn't sleep at all that night. We had a really big storm, and I was really tired when I went to bed, and I was falling asleep, and then the storm was really loud, and the lights kept flashing in the window, and it kind of woke me up again, and then I never was able to get back to sleep again. So I pulled my first card of the day, just to pull up the energies, was the underlying energy of authority figures, and then the Celtic energies, which I see is the inner child. To see the light in the inner child is coming up for Celtic. And Elta in the middle, well, LT, ELTI, is the husband's brother's wife, or to have the same husband, or a husband to have two wives. And then Elta also, which means to chase. The energy of true and fat angel. I was just getting the picture of the laughing Buddha, right? Not the traditional Buddha, but the laughing Buddha. And then Leo shining, or that sun shining at the left back on the feminine side, even though it's coming through as the masculine sun. And the flame not seen in the left hand. Attention of authority figures here, and the Celtic Neanderthal man who puts their sparkly hammer down. And Bridget had come up for my Leo reading. And I don't know much about Bridget. I know more now from reading about it than I did before, but there is that Celtic energy, of course. So then the word authority was coming up, which AU is gold, and then Thor was coming up, and then I, and then TY, which is the I am grateful energy. But this energy of gold was coming up very strongly. The gold Taurus. So the Taurus from the side looks like an apple, but from the top it looks like a donut. And it's coming up as the two together in the gateway, the feast that I am thankful for, and the gate to respond, the gold return, or the gold rock atop the hill that you're grateful for, the energy of molten gold, kind of like the eruption of a volcano, but in gold. Molten gold. worth its weight in gold. And then I was doing a calculation and it came up to 144. And 2600 came up as well. And 26 has been coming up nonstop. August 26th, yesterday, came up as a significant date. But also October 26th had come up as one of my New Year's dates this year. So I brought up that 4 New Years came up this year as opposed to 1 annual New Year's, which we'll get into that as well. Then the underlying energy of the 32 and transformation came up, and then the first card out from the fortune deck was the cracker, which is like fireworks, but the number 7, which is like the chariot or the vehicle of excitement, you know, that trigger for something to take off. So I had to go to the Home Depot to get some mulch, because I had been dealing with poison sumac in the yard. And so, of course, for me, that brings up fear of getting it again, because I had it for 3 weeks already, you know, 3 to 4 weeks, because you still feel a little bit of itchiness after the 3 weeks. But I did much better than I would have. I'm very sensitive to it, and I had it at least 4 times when my kids were young. So I've always been very, you know, triggered by anything that comes up around, because literally it can blow on me and I can get it. So I was putting down some mulch, and I really overdid it. But it worked out in the end, and I feel fine today. I was worried that getting under the bushes, there may be some residual there, or some of the flowers from the plants were still in the grass. So, and I usually walk around with bare feet, so I was, you know, not wanting to do that right now, kind of waiting for the storms to kind of wash all that energy away. But I was listening to Next Level Soul and Angie Hipple, and it was great because all of the things that were coming through in her channelings, there were so many words that came through in the information that I had just gotten. Golden was coming up, the stone people came up, and hybrids, which I have been getting that, I think I said it on my last video, that hybrids were actually coming up as the Holy Grail, and she had brought up the melting pot that we are. And then music was coming up as significant. Let's see what else was coming up there. It was a really good one, by the way. If you never watched Next Level Soul, or you haven't watched Angie Hipple yet, check it out, because she channels her group, Juna, but also Archangel Michael and Babaji, and Yoganandi came up as well. Okay. So then I pulled some cards with the underlying energy being the 38, which is the Queen of Cups, that you are enough. And the card 5, to be true to who you are, and 27, to pull yourself close, and number 7, to breathe in. The shiny unicorn in the clouds, as one with other clouds, and there's a metaphor used of how clouds come together, is the same thing as you and another. Your energies become one. The shiny unicorn, every part deserving of love, the inner child, to practice your breath work today regarding any change in your environment, that you are enough, you do not have to give more. As the Queen of Cups, the freedom of inspiration is key in ascending from within to freedom. As the Hierophant is excited to breathe in the Queen of Cups, right? And the Hierophant can be the master of the hidden house. It can be a master or even a God energy. But in the deck, for me, it's very much a traditional role of God, not the expanded role of God. But the Hierophant is the word for the master of the hidden house in alchemy. So the first card out was the 36 there, which is today's energy. Today adds up to 369. And the card was Today is the Day, and the Ten of Wands, time to begin the journey. With Toys R Us, which is the Taurus for me, two are us. But Toys R Us was coming up in the picture with a giraffe, like Jeffrey the giraffe, as the inner child of transformation is climbing aboard. Number 14, to flow with the rhythm and get lost in the rhythm of movement today, dancing in the portal. We're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. But I was getting in color. You know how Wizard of Oz was so cool because it was an old movie, but so much of it was in black and white, and then you have this color energy of the Munchkins. The Queen of Cups works hard as Atlas/Hercules, her harvest. At LA's, or angels, is her harvest. With the 36 and the 14, which is the 1 and the 6. The 36 is the 10 of Wands, and the 14 is the Temperance card. And then the two together, 36 and 14, is 50 of the ultimate emotional fulfillment, the 10 of Cups. Of Atlas and angels, in the arms of the angels lies some comfort here. Dorothy and Toto lead the group down the yellow brick road, the path of gold. God, the Ancient One, a map of intent and patience to get there, a time to remember while on the road, to look back on your childhood, and perhaps what was your hood, the angels who reached for your window, perhaps. In your Cinderella room, was it small or dark or in the back of the house? And then the 26 of the Page of Wands, to practice freedom as the eagle soars high, to release the weight of judgment. At 709, which is Cancer and Virgo energies of the Chariot and the Hermit, release the weight of judgment, the signposts along the way of your awakening. Then 41 and 9, that you can do hard things. It's not as impossible as it may feel. Connect to eternity within. Let yourself be held by love. With the Ace of Cups and the Hermit and self-love here. The ship at sail up in the clouds will find water to ground in from within, held by love. At an exquisite gate. 37 and 33, write a letter to your inner child. Perhaps do that outside, under the sky, and speak to yourself with kindness, dear one. Become aware of how you speak to yourself. And the picture was like the flame post I had done that day of the Egyptian and the dark, sad lady that came up in one of my flame pictures. So the cards that came up here was El Moria, number 44, who originates, according to the card, from Mercury in the first ray of action, with the 12 strands, or the Manu, the perfected man, who leads by example with self-discipline, strength, and integrity of an ascended master, using your power for the highest good. With the next card, number 9 of the Cosmic Heart, and Venus 9-dimensional, Mother, Mary, and the unicorns coming in there, as the Egyptian is Serapis Bey, which is card number 41. So here from the last deck, we just had 41 and 9, and here we have 9 and 41 again in a different deck. The fourth ray of harmony in the white flame, who worked with Metatron to suffuse the Great Pyramid with cosmic wisdom at its construction. He is the only master to work with the seraphim and will shower you with blessings, with wisdom, cooperation, and dedication. So, and again, I've said before, Serapis Bey, Bey means Lord, and Serapis is Serapis, which was another descent of their family lineage, so to speak. And it came up as Serapis, Lord, and then Serapis, as in being very comical, but Apis is also Pisces, and then Osiris, which is O Sir, us, or O Sir is Sirius, or Sir Eus, which is Jesus. So Sir Jesus. So they all come together as one. Sir Ap is, O Sir is, Sir Eus is with you in the middle, with Jesus, G's, us, is. And then, of course, Isis coming up. The Lady in Wait, or Rider Waite, was then coming up as well. So the order of the numbers was 38, 36, 14, 126, and then 41, 9, 37, and 33. So we have the one for all and then the all for one on the other side of 126. And 26 keeps coming up, which is the Page of Wands, which can be the seed of a new child or the seed of birthing something, or that excited little boy about to go out on a first date, so to speak. So we have the Queen of Cups on one end and the King of Cups on the other, 38 and 37, and two eagles soar across the 40 bridge with a map of the stars, 1, 2, and 6, the Divine Masculine, Divine Feminine lovers, or their spiral together, the Divine Masculine, Divine Feminine lovers, and the Magician embodiment of one for all, and then all for one. And I always use AWL as all for one, where all, ALL, is the whole with a W, and AWL is the whole without the W, because all is a whole maker. But here it comes up as one for all, and notice all, number A is 1, and then we have LL, which is 11. So it's literally 1 and 2, which is the Divine Masculine, Divine Feminine. All right, so 1 and 11, or 1 and 2, which also comes up as the angels and whole. And then the other side of 6 for 1, or the all for 1, AWL, is the spiral, the whole maker. 1 as 2 leap, or 2 U's leap as 1. The Ace of Cups and the Holy Grail, where the other side is angels. This side was in the outfield. And again, that energy of the whole, and then the resonance that makes it become a tunnel, with lots of C's after the whole. And the C's were also coming up as the J's of Jesus. The human JJJJJ, right? It's like the moment in suspended animation of the movement of that whole, of crossing over to the other side. God's rail or train, the ray or leap or source of rain, where one side is the ray L of rail, and the other side is ray N of ray N. For me, N is code Christ did, and the L is the lambda, or lamb to father leap. The lambda, or lamb dash da, and Christ dash ed on the other side. The L, which is also the metro line, right? Where the L is the subway path, left at the right angle. Or the other side, the metro line, met rollin', me and source row and leap. Together the rolling stones, whispering bench, the canoe of can you, I think I can, I know I can, as they come together. The energy of 126, I looked up in Gematria, and the first entry was blood, and then Charlie, golden, Adams, same, Fool, plane, as in an airplane or a level plane, and then Epep, near but late. Edith came up, which was coming up as Ed to the nth degree. Teal, Oakland, and Cain and Abel came up. So Edish and T leap, instead of a T leaf, it was coming up as T leap. Land of the oaks of Cain and Abel, where sugar enables. The Queen of Cups with map for the Hermit and King of Cups to take the 33, or the 40 bridge, of one for all and all for one, of the dance and the sail, with the masculine and the feminine lovers at the juicy center. And then OJ was coming up as the human juice, the Jew ice, the justice or just ice of J-U path of ice, the Jew's path, or Je, I, W, or two U's, I, two U's. The inner child temple of energy, one that's equal and congruent to the other. Congruent is con-gru-ent. The con, that's an ex-criminal that grew into the giant human talking tree, or the co-Christ to Ed that grew into the living library. Osiris and Isis of O-Sir is and I-Sis. I am Sophia's is. The human Sophia Isis. And again, the card in that deck of Isis is number 38. So it just brings us back to in the circle again to the beginning where we started at 38. So then we have a message of the day. And this is with the Fortunes Oracle, the Shaman deck, the Journey of Love, and then the Rider deck. Okay, so the cards to the left are the underlying energy piles, and then 3 cards are pulled, and if more cards want to come out organically, they do. And I use those ending piles for numbers and to wrap up the story, so to speak. Okay. So they were pulled at 1019, 1020, 21, and then 1023 for the Rider Waite deck. The piles at the end were 1101 or 1201, which was coming up as 11011 and 201, right? Each being 2, but 1 the masculine, 1 the feminine, aligned with space between them. And it's also the 1-1 of 101 and 120, where 101 in Gematria was I am God, at, Asia, TA, ta, and then imagine. And TA actually came up as a word I was breaking down last night for one of the words that I got to look into. The number 120 came up as Lisa, Dream, Falcon, Circle, Amir, P, capital P, lowercase p, and then MS. The leap to I am God, the lambda or lambda father is 1. Imagine and dream. So we start this message with the number 30 and the sun and the underlying energies here at 10:30, which is the Wheel of Fortune and the 4 of Wands. And then the 4 card of the Caterpillar or Cat ER pillar in this deck. And then the 18 of Distant Shores and the Queen of Cups reversed, number 38. The sun in a stable home, the Emperor with an opportunity at the full moon that's amplified for the Queen of Cups reversed, and the 4 of Wands, Emperor, the stable Emperor or the home, the union of the Emperor, and the moon here with the Queen of Cups reversed, or this is an opportunity at distant shores with Leo, Aries, Cancer, and 4 moons. So again, this expansion of the moons from this full moon to September to October to November's full moon. At 10:43 is the Wheel and the 3 of Cups, the underlying energy of the sun, again, and the 30. After the 8 of the Dragonfly, the 24 of Patience, 14 of Judgment, and 30 Sun. The strong dragonfly that dances, 2 as 1 with a beautiful mind, the 24 of Patience and the Queen of Wands angel with Judgment, as the story jumps off the page, releasing pressure at the connection, the junction of the pages, and home in the sun. As the Queen of Wands, Sagittarius, Leo, at home or in union. And the next first card is the 35 of the Wish, as the wounded warrior's heart is activated with their heart's desire. Be careful who you trust, though, while soaring to the magic divine masculine abundance of one for all and all for one, an energetic exchange or arrows of love, of unity, as you attract great hope. The underlying energy of the 42 netcaster and the 2 of the beloved, the 27 of the heart home and the 4 of the caterpillar or cat ER pillar. The 2 of cups with the high priestess, ace of wands, and the emperor there. And remember the numbers were all about 1 to 1. We had 201, which is the feminine and the masculine with space between. And the number 2, literally 1 to 1. With 101 and 120 as well. 1 to 1 of the 2 of Cups coming up here as well with the netcaster, beloved with radical acceptance of passionate proposal from the Emperor. Preparations come to fruition. I was just getting preparation H, so somebody might be dealing with hemorrhoids. But preparations come to fruition the beloved heart's on fire, with compassionate heart home, and the Emperor's opportunity, with the numbers coming up as 4-2-2-2-7-4, in a stable environment with guidance, key to the Chariot, with Leo, Sag, Taurus, and Gemini there. The first next card is the Queen of Swords with the 59 Five of Swords, the 21 of the first breath, and the world complete. As the Queen of Swords is straddling worlds in the inner war of the wailing tree and reconciliation. The Emperor and the Queen of Swords and the war within, the opportunity to reconcile and take a first breath, birthing a whole new world. With the 14 Drifter and the 61 Whales song, the patient angel channels experiencing life as it comes, taking a risk to resonate in a deep portal, with Aries, Pisces, and Sagittarius there. The underlying energy of the 31 Five of Wands, the Christed flame, the 65 of the King of Pentacles and the breaking, the 18 of distant shores, and chaos of the breaking of the King of Pentacles at the full moon, at rough seas, in recovery for 4 moons, the conflict of the King of Pentacles, water under the bridge, and then the next first card, the 66 of the Queen of Pentacles, in coming together with the 37 King of Cups, of fire and ice, and the King of Swords to dream a little. At the full moon, the Queen of Pentacles, King of Cups, and King of Swords, and the Golden Gate with the King of Cups and the King of Swords. So again, the Kings are all about mastering of emotions, mastering of thoughts and words. And then the Queen of Pentacles, 66, can be that Golden Gate. And the 2 spirals of the Aqua Rose Gold Mother's Heart as well is coming up here. So at 11:18, which is Justice and the Moon, of this full moon on the 18th, which 18 is the moon, so that's when I posted my moon card on Instagram, so check those posts out. The 65 of the King of Pentacles and Queen of Pentacles in 5 degrees, not 6 degrees, but they were coming up as 5 degrees of separation, like Newton's cradle, with the 3 balls in the middle, and the energy coming in on one side, and the energy coming out on the other side. 5 degrees of separation of Newton's cradle, as the King of Pentacles action causes resonance through the moons, through the next 3 moons, as the Queen of Pentacles and the King of Cups master their thoughts and words. I'm also getting now that this moon is amplified to the size of like 4 moons. Okay, so it's really intense. The 3 kings and a queen from the 18th to the 19th, which is the moon and the sun, and here we have the sun alignment with Sirius week, to the moon, which is a super blue moon. In the heart, fire and ice, as the King of Swords dreams, to the underlying energy of the 4 of Pentacles reversed with the Empress upright and the 2 of Swords reversed, coming out of the Batcave to fix things up or make amends with the Empress or Mother Earth perhaps, descending on or deciding on a divorce or clearly spiritual and energetic exchange, breaking a contract in exchange for time, with Taurus reversed, Libra reversed, Pisces or Virgo reversed, third party energy here, with Taurus upright and Libra divorce, with secret passion, Queen of Pentacles reversed, taking a break, with rest and 5D connection, to epiphanies, options, and dreams, with no choice but to split and or reflect, with the Page of Cups reversed, walking into that good night. Day and night, night and day, twisted pink cat, as the Page of Cups reversed, leaving the Knight of Cups reversed, or both taking a walk together, working to align and dump their burdens, or dump a lover or burdened by X, as the Page of Wands is inspired by the Page of Swords at work and under the radar recovering, or failure to launch. As the Hermit's reversed, coming out to the King of Wands, who's shocked by the Knight of Pentacles reversed, blocking their way, or dealing with PTSD, or post-war or virus home, recovering from emotional loss, with the 10 of Pentacles, family, business, or community, injustice, or that can be the institution's injustice as well, with the King of Pentacles, fallen angel, and then Saggy reversed with Pisces upright, moving to peace at the full moon, with sudden trauma or drama, an accident, or great pain, as Cancer and Scorpio are both upright in a painful end or ending pain, with the Queen of Swords reversed, who may be the one in great pain, driving strongly, though, through Cancer and Leo upright, After painful Gemini, so it's kind of taking us back through Gemini to Cancer to Leo. After painful Gemini to Nine of Pentacles reversed, who was a powerless dependent to the Emperor or depending on them. With Aries juggling a nightmare with the Nine of Swords reversed, the daily grind with the Nine of Cups upright, who may be arrogant there with the Queen of Wands reversed, defenseless to release of the Six of Cups, innocence, and the Two of Cups reversed, which can be a disconnect of two sweethearts who really want to be together. Sweet lovers or children at a distance, or breaking up the Ten of Cups reversed family, forced to pay for radiation perhaps, or draining the kids while offered the Ace of Cups love from a depressed one who's needing to heal. As the Seven of Pentacles may be someone assessing the worth of their situation, or if they have enough to retire on, as the King of Swords is sticking to their integrity with the Knight of Swords upright, rushing in with judgment, or that could be a delivery, or a present to the Page of Pentacles reversed, who may be in need of help, as the Nine of Wands wounded warrior starts over, not sharing with the group. Weathering an unnatural death or near-death experience, tired of detoxing from manipulation of the Queen of Cups reversed, with Scorpio, Cappy, Gemini, and Virgo all reversed there. The Queen of Cups reversed and the King of Cups upright, and the Knight of Wands rushing in to come clean about the fall, or great block to make the play. And that could be someone just watching a game as well. So again, seeing the positive and the negative, right? A situation which may feel as negative or be seen as negative, and then all of a sudden going into your higher aspect and understanding the reason for that and how it's going to flip things for you. So on the 19th, we have the now moment was coming up right away at the top of the page here, with the energy of Chai, C-H-A-I, which means life, but also girl. And it breaks down to the CH, which is horsepower. I'm getting horse. So whatever that means to you, horsepower. I was just getting the town Horsham, but that won't relate to most of you people because you're not near that town. But however it comes to you, that's the way you should take it. But the energy of Chai was being broken down, and it's horsepower and AI, but also or. The Emperor was coming up there. The M, per, and or the MP's roar, the military police's roar. And I was getting the ETs, policing the area, policing the earth. And it was coming up as rowers. The Page of Wands and Newton's cradle is number 26, where it's coming up as the Page of Wands Newt, that's on. Not cradle, but C-Ray-B. The horsepower, which is ho, arse, and power. And AI also means water. So the whore and the ass power, again, taking the negative perceptions of, right, Mary Magdalene and Jesus type of energy, using that pow or that anger behind it to channel it into something good. Again, a punch to churn water, like the water wheel. The channeling rise in the evolution into the turn of emotion, right? Changing something negative into a positive. So we have CHAI literally means the water wheel, which horsepower is 144 turns of the water wheel. On high, leap of two eldest to be, to chew, to forget. Horsepower of being alive. Hello. And the spider with 100 legs. Yes. The full moon energy to understand, the tree, the winter, the shark's fire, the impetus to write. Numbers 2 and 4, which are the spaces between the 1 and number 3 of the Father and Son, where the ... is to be her. The feminine high priestess, stable home, which equals 6 of the lovers and family love. For Newton's cradle, excitable little one, to leap and radiate. You, a specific one. So then I was talking to Teddy at the window, asking him if he likes the new flowers out there. And flowers is also flowers, those who flow, but then toners were coming up, and powers and towers. And I picked a card, and the underlying energy was imprisonment and slavery, with the first card out being Greco-Roman and the sun shining through. He behind bars that let the sun shine through. Again, someone with a negative making it into a positive, like an open prison door in the jail, but free to roam and get sunlight through the glass ceiling. The underlying energy then of love life, or those persecuted. On angels looking down, the love life, as angels are looking down, the high priestess looking up with her hands to the galactic mother, instilling trust and faith in her children, with the sun at their left shoulder, the biblical carpenter, the knighthood, the allegiance to Father of infinite healing, which is health. Heal, TH, infinite healing. To teach medicine, me, Ed, Mr. Ed, I seen all. The medicine man or woman, and the father's imprisonment or slavery to the system, of prison doors on auto open and close, either in or out, there's no in-between state, no time with him. Now the Greco-Roman portal has been cleared as the sun shines through. There's no windows in the hospital for those working in sterile environments. With Greco-Roman coming up as G-R-E, co-row man. Right, so it's 2 rowing together. And the ger of EC human, or easy, that could be coming easy too. The ger of EC human, Rome 1, row, ma, n is my Christed letter, of mother and son. As the son sits on the left, the father sits on the right, and dances with the wolves, the daughter, the pack, the leader of the pack. Okay? So the son sits to the left, the father sits on the right with the daughter, right? The son sits with the mother, the father sits with the daughter, the wolf, the daughter, the leader of the pack. So, I went into some more energy just to pick up the energy for myself yesterday. And the unrequited love came up in the underlying energy, and then the medicine man or woman as the card that came out, and the dream catcher of 3 blind mice. That each that hung, not just the 3 men, but their feminine counterpart as well. The well of water that runs down deep, and the dark to counter their acting up. The woman is the woe of Ma and N, again the Christed energy of mother and son. 2 creators of Om as one. The human embodiment between the W and the M, or the woman and the men. The 2 creators and co-creation, that which stands between them. So then the E and the reflection of E were coming up. And looking at the definitions of those. But what it brought me to understand, and looking back at the lineage of the letter E, is that the squared E is not the original E. The epsilon is the original E, and that's the letter that goes back to the praying person with their arms up in the air. That was the epsilon. It was, the word is he, and then was representing the praying man to God. So, and the backwards E is that which exists in a set, but was also coming up as, E versus reversed E, as energy or not, being the Irish not. And then the Euler's number E, which is 2.72 rounded off, was coming up as the praying one. And then the 3 as the not, the Irish not. And then Baba G was coming up, and lethargy, to point, to key, to chariot, one dance, two dance. One dances and then two dances. And then in this number, which is actually, it rounded off as 2.72, but it's 2.7, 1828, 1828, and then 45, 90, 45. So this is what this was coming up from. And then the 45 degrees is the eighth of a turn, right? It's the eighth dance, whereas the 90 degrees is a quarter turn, which was coming up here as a shift, which came up on the first page that I'm going to start from, back on the 7th, which, you know, I don't remember these things. So the 45 degrees shift is very significant here. The quarter turn is a shift, whereas the eighth turn is the dance. And remember, in a key turn, if you turn the square a quarter, it's still the square. But if you turn the square an eighth, is the dance. It becomes the diamond. Right? So when it comes square to square is a shift from one realm to the other. It's still a square, but there's a shift there. Whereas the eighth of turn is the diamond dance in between, the space between. The E, again, is the mathematical constant as it approaches infinity. The transcendental number of 2.718281828, and then the 45, 90, 45, and so on. The base of the natural logarithm function. The exponential constant, 2.72, which for me, when I draw 2.72, is the Q with the 7, which is basically the Vesica Pisces of one circle behind the other, and then another 2. So there's a Q, and then another circle, and then another Q. So it's like every other connects, you know, like kind of a masculine, feminine. One doesn't connect, one does connect. As also coming up is the 2 boomerangs. 2 boomerangs, 2, right? So something begets something. Also associated with kinetic energy, the letter E, and the number 14. It means temple, and 1 equal and congruent to with the line above the E. And some math numbers were coming up regarding E of 2E5 equals 2 times 10 to the 5th. And just the different definitions of E, which is hexadecimal symbol for 14, energy in physics of E equals mc squared, expectation function in math, and also is E for East and everyone, ecstasy, estrogen, and failing or flunking comes up, which I would think that's F, right? But it's also E, and then episode. So I wrote down all the different versions of number 3. And because 3 would be the opposite of epsilon, E. And one of the different ways of writing the number 3 is the upside down reversed F, which we know F is digamma, or that twin flame energy. And then 3 is the reflection of that, which 3 references Jesus, right? So we have the energy of F, which is digamma, reflecting the upside down backwards F of 3. So epsilon then reflects number 3 as digamma and Christ. The Latin E is different from its source, the epsilon, from he and the praying human figure of jubilation. The praying figure equals the rounded E of digamma, which equals the twin flame reflecting the 3 of Christ. When you put and we're talking about E and 3, which is the rolling stone of E, 3, M, and W. It's all the same symbol basically in different positions, right? The 4 directions. So when M and W are coming together here, which is also the man and woman, it makes this symbol right here, which is like a stent. Okay, and then we have the 8 of the 3 and the E coming together is the 8. I just wanted you to get those visuals. Because the stent energy is also the energy of 1xx1, which is 9 and 11, or it's 11, 11, depending how you looked at it. Are you looking at it 11 reflected or 9 reflected? Could be 9, 9 as well. But it's also 1y with little v in the middle, and then y backwards with 1 again, which is the leap to the center in order to create. And remember that 9 is I, the letter I, so here we have I, 1, 1 again, of the 3 ones, which is all, 1, 1, 1, or 1 and 2. And here the same, 911 is the same thing as all. And then the 8 is like 2 stents on top of each other. So you're seeing With the M and the W, you're seeing the stent from the side, where you can't see the O's, because that would be the end of the stent on either side, the whole of the tunnel. And then the 8 is seeing, you know, at the top, so to speak, to see the hole. You don't see the stent part because you just see the tunnel. You just see the hole. And the 2 holes here of the 8. 2 stents congruent to each other in the 8. So the twin flame coming up here as the T of the tree. Remember the tree, the letter T is the singularity if you look at it from the top down, because you would just see a circle and a dot in the middle. And then we have the F, which is this praying person standing next to the tree. The digamma, divine masculine, divine feminine, praying next to the tree. The tree coming up as T, Re. So then the Re was coming up in my messages too, which is a Native American tribe, the shaman Native American. But Re also means wild and crazy guys, to riddle, separate, or throw off. Also the roe deer one. The small, or Reus, which is guilty and giant, the plaintiff and the defendant. The king, the ace, to laugh and rye, and again the energy of dear ones coming up here. That is you. And so the number 1210 had come up. Yeah, 1210 I wrote down, which equals the final code. This is the Gematria entries for 1210. The final code to break Christ's second coming. The first entry, that was number 4. The first entry was witchcraft. But notice that the number 1210 is 1 to 1 with source energy backing it up. 1-1. It's also 1 to 10. Very interesting there, huh? It's 1 to 10 and 1 to 1 with source backing them up. The first entry being witchcraft, the 4th entry being the final code to break Christ's second coming. Then the 11th entry was the Vatican adrenochrome. The 12th was the 5th of November. Then God's birth, death, date, 8-1 Christ's death was the 15th entry. The 16th entry was the use of numbers is forbidden. 21st entry was Eve's death, the ring of fire, and 25 was you are the best thing. So the number 81 came up in God's birth, death, date, 8-1 Christ's death, and 81 in the numerology book is the end of the life cycle. Plus also August 1st, as then we have the ring of fire in Eve's death listed here, which is 8-8, the ring of fire of Lionsgate. God's rebirth in 7 days, 8-1 to 8-8. So how I got the 4 New Years this year, when I got that download, was they'd been telling me for a while that God's birthday was December 7th, and then I was getting December 13th because they were giving me a whole week, right? The world was built in 7 days. And then they made it a fortnight with 4 nights to Christmas, basically, and then 7 days is the chariot home back to 1-1 or the new year. And so that same process was used to come out to April 9th, July 18th, October 26th, and then February 3rd, because it's in the leap year. So it continues into the 25 because we're still within the leap year. So God's rebirth of 7 days, so 8-8. So then they were taking me through that same process for now, for whatever reason, of that being like the first week. So then it would be the fortnight, and then 4 days and 7 days. But here they were having me do it as 3 weeks instead of 2 weeks, and then the 4 nights afterwards, which was then coming up as August 1st to the 21st. And then the 22nd, 23rd, 24th, and 25th are the 4 nights at the gate, leading into the new year, which would be the 26th, 8/26. And 26 keeps coming up, right? The year 26 and that day 26. which is the Page of Wands and Newton's cradle. Not the fortnight for God, but the 21 days and 4 nights, or 18 days and 4 nights times 2. For whatever reason, it was coming up that way. The 7 of the chariot to carry them home, August 26th. The 25 days of the Knight of Wands magic potion here of August 26, 2024, which adds up to 42, which is again 1 to 1. See how crazy this is? It always comes out perfectly. So we're moving from the 1st to the 21st, which is 1 to 1, and then the day 8/26/2024 adds up to 42, which is the 2 of Cups, 1 to 1. 8/26 is then the 8 again of that E and 3 coming together, and then the 26 is the butterfly, the infinite transformation of 0 to 4. When 1 to 4 are complete, the alchemist has mastered, right? The 4 seasons, the 4 directions, etc. And that came up in one of the cards. I don't know if it's the inner child or in my other deck, but that literally came up in one of my messages. And then I was being guided to 8 versus 4 stacked on top of 4, which literally makes like a flagship pole. But it's like the energy of the angled F, which the angled F in Etruscan is the letter V and VE, and from ancient Greek, the F is W or VV or digamma. And again, from some of the other symbols, Wa was coming. I thought I was saying wave. Wa for Egypt. And then there was a spiral energy after that. But the letter F is also force. And it was very interesting looking at the Etruscan letters, because a lot of the Etruscan letters were these symbols that I get a lot of the time. So I was looking over them. So again, the 8/26 of 2024, where E equals the left hand in some opinions. Oh, the Etruscan and the Neo-Etruscan. The Neo-Etruscan was really, really on point. So it's going back to some of the Egyptian symbols since the praying man came up. Anyway, you can check out the Etruscan alphabet to see if any of those symbols resonate with you. So the 8 for 8/26/2024, the 8 is the leading to the 26, which is the butterfly transformation that falls into the Taurus, right? So the butterfly is also like the apple with the stem on the top. It falls into the Taurus, or to our us, dear ones, to the trident. And I did a whole thing a couple times on the Taurus and the trident coming together. Here the 2 are us of the Taurus, and then the trident of tri-D-E-N-T was coming up as tri, 3, D is 4, and then the E of 5, and then the NT, which is neath or ditto. But also the D'-E-N-T again is the giant talking tree. 8/26 to 8. To 0 to 4, the Lambda Leap, 2024. Week 3 journey through the fallopian tube. So I looked, for whatever reason, I was guided to the 3rd week of pregnancy, which is when you're going through the fallopian tube, dividing and redividing on the way to the uterus, and people trying to find a word for the 3 weeks, which is tri-weekly. That's the only other word. And again, the confusion when you use bi-weekly, right? Whether it's twice a month or like twice a week or bi-monthly, type of energy. But week 3 journey through the fallopian tube, and tri-weekly, or to try weekly, 2 are us, but 3 D'-E-N-T of the giant humanoid talking tree, 3 dents. So then I was getting the dents of the 24,000 years, right? The down swoop of the sine wave, and then the up swoop. So 3 dents would be 3 24,000 year cycles, which equals 72,000 years. or E that equals 2.72. 2 are us and 0.72,000 years. 3 cycles of tricycles for 3 weeks. Baby steps. 3 weeks, and again, that's the travel time down the fallopian tube, right? The yellow brick road, so to speak. 3 weeks times 13 is the 39-week cycle in total, with the 40th week to ground and integrate. And they always talk about the pregnancy cycle being like 40 weeks. But it's, I mean, both my pregnancies were exactly 39 weeks. All right, so 13, it's the 13... It's literally, the 9 months is literally 13, 3 cycles of 13, which is 39 weeks in total. But literally, I knew when I conceived both of my pregnancies, and they're exactly 39 weeks. Maybe a day, one way or the other. And they use your period, to guesstimate the cycles of pregnancy, so that could add it to the 40-week cycle. But again, Euler's number of that 2.718281828459045, etc. 2 at 0 point in the chariot to the moon, the romance to dance, romancing the stone, or path of 1 to dance. The queen's gambit or pawn, and Chi, I can't roll, the Chi twin flame, or the life of the girl, the tree of Epsilon. The E, the praying figure reflecting the Christed 3, and the page of wands 26 of the pawn and the leap of 2 eldest to be, to chew, to forget, the high priestess of being alive, or the horsepower of being alive, the hello, and the spider with 100 legs, yes, the full moon energy to understand, the tree, the winter, the shark's fire, the impetus to write, the numbers 2 and 4 and the spaces between, the 1 and 3, the father and son, to be her. Home, family, and excitable little one, to leap and radiate thee, you, a specific one. The tree of Epsilon. The praying figure of hands up to the sky, reflecting the Christed or Christ to Ed, or son to father, the anointed to Ed. The Epsilon on the spinning planet, the twin flame source of digamma waves, of grain, God's reign, R-E-I-G-N. Re-I Godin. So redo the I Godin, that you are the God within you. The queen's pawn, page of wands, the Chi 18, the girl's life transitioning to the tree of Epsilon. The healer who recognizes themselves in reflecting with God. Epsilon is E, PSI, which PSI is the pitchfork of E, of Ea, of Enki, which is Poseidon. The E and the Psi, and then the LON, which is longitude, flag, blackbird, depression, in the bottom of the river, to shine, be stretched out of time, old, slowness of the past that crops still are not consumed, salt, doe, hind, moose and elk, insatiable hunger, unquenchable thirst, gluttony, veracity, to run far, long, fierce, cheerful, joyful, glad. Epsilon, Psi, and then theta comes up as the salt symbol. Now that's funny too, because then now we have Evelyn Salt here too, with the pitchfork in the middle. Epsilon, Psi, theta, or EPT test of viability. Ea, Poseidon, salt of the sea, the Celtic salt, and then Elena comes up, because although she's in, I don't know if she's living in France or Ireland right now, but she goes between, but she's French, but she has an Irish history. She's probably very connected to the Danann lineage. The coming up is Elena, EPT is Elena part-time, extrasensory perception test, the Enki Ea Poseidon tree of the praying one, the healer shaman. And then Danann came up, which is DA of the father's breed, non, food, word, to drink, and none. And again, non is NA and AN, which is one and none, one and not one, and the father. The father as not one and one, not one and one. Da and an, not one in the middle. As you are one in the middle in order to connect, right? So they're not. So God, it's coming up as God is not one in the middle, because you are one in the middle at 0 point, and that's where you two connect. AAN also means Dan robe or shawl, onward, nothing, no one, and one. The crow, the body, the land, the village, and settlement. And I was looking up that if there was a sorority or a fraternity that was EPT, and the closest thing that I found was a chapter of Delta Sigma Theta, so we can call it a Theta group, right? But there were 12 women, the D dynamic Delta dozen, initiated, and Epsilon Psi was chartered. Of those 12, one of them's name was Evelyn Ray. And this year's chapter president is India Reed. And Reeds were coming up in the Egyptian letters that I was looking at. But it also comes up into a Re divine, and the Re American, or the Native American tribe was coming up. Psi, PSI, is also a form of psychic energy, pounds per square inch, of course, and it means dog. And theta is a pitch angle or theta wave, reliability, trustworthiness. And again, the pitch angle is from the plane's takeoff, from the horizontal, the degrees between. And then TA, like I said, came up, means a lot of things. But one of the things it means is ashes, and to protrude, it means thanks and give, hard, to flirt, to spin, to sell, to snatch, to protrude, to be spicy, to fire, to shine, spring, burst, explode, to oppose, and to grow. Ashes, closed, shut, I, me, we, us, definitely, to come, to take, okay, fence, wall, grandfather, and one. E is home at the bottom of the sea, bottomed out, to shine and rise through loyal friend, a form of psychic energy to burst forth as I, me, we, and us. Two are us, and trident, and again that energy of the dent, the sine wave going downward, to project the grandfather, the one. Medicine man or woman dangling the dream catcher in front of the woman left hung out to dry, learning to love themselves and now drawing others in. After the ships come in, or new way of travel, community leader put the sparkly hammer down, strung up in unrequited love, but now a mystery hand reaches out. Oh, so funny, because I didn't see the arm until after this. The arm was this morning, but I'd written this yesterday. But now the mystery hand reaches out, a shaman of love to catch her in his web, one who has puppets or dangling bait to one of unrequited love and yet undying faith. Father, bringing along the ones who stood up for you. Father, they know not what they've done. So really cool energies there. Okay. So today, just what I got this morning, because I didn't share that with you yet. Hippocampus keeps coming up. It hadn't come up for a few days this week, and then it came up again. And hippocampus means seahorse, and it has to do with the memory. There's one on each side of the brain, in the allocortex. Kind of looks like an ear, or it looks like the two arms up making muscles, so it made me think of the praying man. The consolidation of information from short-term to long-term memory and in spatial memory that enables navigation. This is just Wikipedia. And it's in all vertebrates. And there's two main parts of the hippocampus proper, or Amon's horn, and dentate. So here's like trident and dentate. Gyrus, or gyrus, is the second part. One of the first regions to suffer from Alzheimer's or dementia. And damage to the hippocampus can also result from oxygen starvation or hypoxia, encephalitis, or medial temporal lobe epilepsy. So this, I was asking, I don't always connect with the angels directly. I mean, I call on Michael a lot, and I talk about Metatron a lot. and I have connected with Metatron before, but it's not something typical for me because I have others that I connect with more readily. So I was just having fun saying, and it actually happened to be 1233, who's my angel? And I got big connection when I said that. And then I pulled from the past life deck and the arts card came up, and I thought of Paul the Venetian right away because Paul the Venetian is all about the arts, but Paul's not an archangel. And so the first card out was love life, and then spouse, scribe, Native American, and vows. And I was getting in TP, writing vows. And again, I would associate that also with my twin flame as that Paul energy, which is very creative. And then I pulled from the Ascension deck because that has a lot of the masters and angels in it. And the underlying energy was 17 of Sirius, which is Sir Jesus. And then the first card out was 37, Paul the Venetian, exactly what I thought, which is the third ray and carries the flame of the Liberty, which is like the Queen of Swords, Lady Liberty. And then the 15 of water came out, which was coming up with Poseidon, or Ea, asking to link to the music of the spheres to access my divine blueprint and reinstate it. And then the 35 of Mary Magdalene was the next card, which is the sixth ray. So today is the 36th, and we did the third ray and the sixth ray, right, of basically the Jesus energy of Paul the Venetian and Mary Magdalene energy of the sixth ray, bringing dogma into spirituality. And she's associated with Marseille and Buttercup Yellow. If you've been wronged or misunderstood, she gives you the courage to maintain your integrity, attuned to receive her blessing. The King of Cups is 37, the 9 of Wands, Wounded Warriors, the 35, and the 15 of Water and Poseidon coming up in the middle, or 36, which is today, which is the 10 of Wands of Atlas and the weight of the world. Right, but that, for me, the 10 of Wands represents the masculine Atlas, whereas the Mary Magdalene comes up as the feminine Hercules, her harvest. All right, so now we're going way back to the beginning. So starting back on the 7th, when the energies of Lionsgate were coming in, I'm just going to touch on some highlights that came up in some of the reads I did, but I'm not going to do all of the reads. Obviously, it's too much. But the names Tessa, Nina, Erica, Elaine, and Elena were all coming up, as well as the energy of the carpenter, to tighten and sweat, to fatten up, a must, and again, the energy of duty coming up here, something that's required. And the Nina is like a hidden message in a crossword, and the doll, the girl, the child, the mother, the nose tip, or the tip of the nose. The goddess Nun, she also comes up there. And then through the progression, the word Est-Eve was coming up as well, which is very interesting, right? EST and EVE, because my name is Evelyn Esther. And I was actually told that Esther means Evelyn in Hebrew, so it's really funny that my parents named me the same name twice. So to sweat, harass, become silent. To see, to fatten up, or sudden event, or duty calls. With Hierophant and Emperor of the Whispering Bench, or secret talks here of church versus state, a hidden message of Morse code, of name in the eyes or the pupil, the nose tip, the doll, the child, the single woman, the mother being a portal, a quote-unquote Nina, that holds cards close to their chest, the hermit, the secret keeper, this seeking keys to Eve, or seek the camel to go, to seek aunt or uncle to consider, to seek to give birth, to sweat and just be. And then the word TEVE, which equals ESTEVE. And again, the divine feminine portal of beingness, to be in a holy place of longing, a vessel of birth. And EST is also East Eve, which is the rising, that which dawns. A dusk, the carpenter's plot, to get the hermit at dawn. Tightening the screws, quote unquote, as to fatten or expand is a must. to hide their sadness while grounding and integrating or dealing with the Hierophant and the Emperor, and again, church or state, mediating peace talks as the quote-unquote Nina, as the divine masculines in the crystal bat cave, hermiting and seeking time with Eve. And then the 90-degree shift came up. It was the 7th. So again, that 45 degrees is the 8th shift, or the dance into the diamond, but the square dance is the shift. Okay. And then we go into, also the wild child was coming out all week with the Queen of Wands, Leo, allowing her wild child out. And then, okay, so the 7th to the 9th, I can't talk too much about it, but I can, my daughter gave me permission to tell you a little bit about what happened. So my daughter had a sore throat, and she had made an appointment to go to the doctor's by 3 o'clock. And she just, she had a headache because she had a sore throat. It was only on one side, and she, so she felt it was a bacterial infection. So that's why she wanted to try to get in to see the doctor right away so she could get antibiotics. So she went to the doctor's office, and then the doctor ends up calling me to come get her because her right side is weak, and she thinks she should go to the ER, but she didn't think it was safe for her to drive. And she was very calm, the doctor, very nice. So I go to pick her up to take her. And I get there, and her whole right side has gone weak. She can't walk. She's crying. Her arm is like in spasm, and her eye is drooped. Okay, so you know what we're thinking, right? So, and then she didn't want the ambulance because she's still paying off her last visit. So anyway, we ended up going to the hospital and having to drive her in. I brought it up mainly because it was such the perfect opportunity to use what you've learned, to use your abilities, to not feed into the fear of what's happening, and not to feed into when you go to a hospital, right? Of you're the little one and they're the ones who know everything, right? So I right away in the car, because both of us were scared, being where she was. We didn't know what it was. We didn't know if it could be a stroke, or we didn't know if it could be like meningitis or something like that, which are the two most scary things that I was thinking of. But I stayed calm, and I sent healing to her in the car as I told her to hold my hand. It's okay. Oh, and she couldn't, she was having trouble verbalizing because of what was happening on the right side of her. So I was very proud of myself because I maintained until we got there, and I was, yelling for them to get a chair because I knew timing was everything if it were certain things. So to get her in there really quickly. The other thing is in dealing with the whole situation, after she went in to have her CAT scan, I Reiki'd her whole right side, and within 10 minutes, she was fully functional again. So use your healing abilities. It's so important that you stay calm and stay in your knowing so that you can use your healing abilities. Okay? All right, that's it for that, though. But anyway, that was 3 days of a lot of stuff, but everything was fine. And, from the first night, right after the CAT scan, and I Reiki'd her, she was able to get up and go to the bathroom on her own. And it was after I Reiki'd her. So just telling you guys, use your abilities. It doesn't matter what anyone else says to you, especially at a hospital where they're only allowed to tell you certain things. I know I worked in a hospital for 25 years. They're insured for certain things, and they're not allowed to talk about certain things because they're not insured for it, or it's not something they promote. Follow your instincts, okay? So, let's see what else. The phrase Library of Carpenter came up, like Library of Congress, but Library of Carpenter, like the Akashic Records. But then it was coming up as co-N or co-Christed Gress, as in the Sophia energy. It was coming up as libraries, Libra, R-Y, the Christ conscious bridge of human Christ to Ed, the little T leap of of the tiger to the S, the tiger to lioness or jag to unicorn. The first six signs of the zodiac are about the I am, the self, and the second 6 of the zodiac are about we are. The 66 golden gate And again, the midpoint is from Virgo to Libra, that reflects the start, the end to the beginning, which is Pisces into Aries. The 66 golden gate of the Queen of Pentacles to be at both spots, Virgo to Libra, purified and balanced. And the underlying energy here, still some unrequited love between father and child, father and son, or father and daughter with Carpenter, Mother Mary watching their connection. And there's that angel energy. And then Asia was coming up as A and A, as the rocket or masculine energy on either side, with the C in the middle, which can reference, Christed energy. All right, so, oh, this is really cool too. Like as she's in the hospital, literally, the cards will come out like her ER room number. And then the cards come up in her other room number that she gets transferred to. That was like constant. Again, the hippocampus was coming up, and Celtic energy. Hunger, again, this energy, the past couple of weeks has been a lot of energy about our hunger in the need to reach out to the Father, especially for the masculine to reach out to the Father, right? Because it's very natural for the mother and son and the father and daughter. But just like the egg jumps into the mother, the father then has to reach out to the Father God, right? So Mother God delivers the egg to the daughter, but then the husband has to reach out. It's like the leap out in death to the Father. But this is life, living after death. So it's literally the son has to reach out to the Father to make that connection, because the mother already has that connection as the egg leaping into her womb. And again, lots of shaman energy coming up. And again, the hippocampus means seahorse, but I keep getting it as the horse farm. And again, the hippocampus is long-term memory. Here's where the cards came out: 16, 4, and 25, and her 16 is a sudden event, and then 425 was her ER number. The lion birth and the phoenix, the institute of light in the box, on the unicorn bridge, aligning with flowers of truth and balance. The high priestess angel and the sudden lion's roar. The lambda leaps and phoenix rises. The lion calls forth the birth, giving a rise out of the mouths of babes, those vowing to fight for the child, and for the child to lift them up. Galactic angels at Lion's Gate, open wide and say, ah, as the Hierophant with flowers, or flowers, those who go with the flow, angels with sudden events, and the Emperor with the Knight of Wands, as child holds on for a wild ride, both mother and father present. The phoenix was coming up as the baby, rocketing into space, the 6 of the lover's chariot around the world in AD days. The 36, this was done on the 8th, but that's today's date. 36 it adds up to today. The 36 of Atlas, the map of the 24 patient of the Queen of Wands. And the 5 of the Hierophant with 11 flowers. The 2 of the angel and 16, which is 8 also. Lion, the 4 of the birth, and 25 of the Knight of Wands. By the way, 2 birds hit my window today. I went out to check the first bird, and as soon as he saw me, he fell in the flowers. He flew right away. And another one tapped more lightly and flew right away, and Teddy was up there. But yeah, there's something in the air there. But it's beautiful weather outside today. The 25 of the Knight of Wands and the 4 of birth, and again, both of them have to do with quarters, right? 4 is a quarter and 25 is a quarter. And the way the cards came out was 511, 216, 425. With the King of Swords hanging out suddenly, 425, or 2 of Cups change, or the Emperor and the Knight of Wands, 88 and 87. The Cinderella chariot led by unicorns, with Atlas map of intent carrying the weight of the world for the patient. Family carries the Queen of Wands, patient on Lion's Gate, 88824. And this was very cool. I was watching over one of my videos, which I don't usually do, because they're very long, as you know. And right as the video said, as the rain of blessings fall, it literally, like, water just fell out of the sky as soon as I said that. And it just started pouring outside. It was like around 5:30 to 6:30 on the 8th. Yeah. And then Medusa was coming up with Pegasus and Chrysaor, the twins, right? Pegasus and Chrysaor. And I always see them as Pegasus is the girl horse and Chrysaor is the boy who rides the horse. But this was also coming up as Medusa is Med USA and Mr. Ed USA, but also Pegasus is PE Gas Us, like the gas company. So it led me to that as well, which led me to the companies Stellantis, something about Chrysler and Pico. But you know, Pico used to be, the gas company is now owned by Philip Edison and Company. It was Philadelphia Electric, but it's not. It's with Phillips Edison and Company now. Merged with Edison's holding company, which I didn't know. The gold ray of Christ came up with the eighth ray, Jesus to test for balance and love. The dolphins, angels of Atlantis, and sonics imparting wisdom, wearing gold and silver cloak to bring in the angel sonics and purify. Around the yard, expect the unexpected and miraculous of balance and harmony, which everything did, you know, considering what I was going through between the admission and the poison. I did very well this month, and so did my daughter, in remaining calm. And something else that came up was euthyroid 6 syndrome, which I don't think I've ever heard of. It's possible I have, and I've just forgotten, but it's EU and then thyroid 6 syndrome, which may relate to somebody. So if you want to look that up, you can. And also the MTHFR gene mutation, which a lot of people have. So if you have problems digesting food, or you've always had bloating problems since you were young, like myself, I don't know. I haven't had the analysis of my makeup. My brother definitely has the MTHFR gene mutation.